Hari Om. Today we are on third mantra of section 2 of chapter 3. Nayamaltma pravachanena labhyo na methaya na bahuna shrudena yame vaisha vrunude tena labhya tasyesha atma vivrunude tanum swam. This is the chanting of this mantra. The meaning is, broad meaning, the Atman is not attained by dint of study or intelligence alone, nor is it attained merely by giving or listening of discourses, nor through mere memorizing of scriptural texts. It is attained by those who truly wish to attain sincerely. To such a sincere and honest seeker, the self reveals its true nature. This is how the Shankara defines this sloka, explains this sloka in brief. Not the full commentary, but briefly. Now let's see the meaning of it with little deeper. The seeker or the student who have now come with certain amount of discipline having been followed, with an ultimate goal of realizing the self, he has now come to the Guru, and right from the day of his admission, the student has been told over and over again that there is something wonderful in self-realization. You should experience to really realize it. A wonderful thing it is. Everybody in the ashram used to say this. The Guru says like this. Everybody says Brahman is wonderful. Oh, self-realization, my God, that's the top. A wow experience, so to say. A wow experience. The eternal absolute has been explained as a infinite, all-knowing and all blissful. It has been explained in that manner. And it is explained as a wonderful thing. In Bhagavad Gita, we have an appropriate stanza in chapter 2, in chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga. The sloka reads, says, Ascharyavat pashyadi kaschidena Ascharyavat vadadi tathaiva chanya Ascharya chainamanya shrunoti Shrutvaapyenam vedana chaiva kaschet. One sees this as a wonder. Ascharyavat pashyadi kaschidena. One sees this as a wonder. Ascharyavat vadati tathaiva chanyam. Another speaks of this as a wonder. Ascharyavat chainamanya shrunoti. Yet another hears this as a great wonder. Shrutvaapyenam veda na chaiva kinchit. But none of them have understood this at all. They only speak wonderful, brilliant, excellent, but none of them have ever experienced this. Now, therefore, the question of the student, or at least the doubt of the student that comes to his mind, he may not put it in the form of a question, doubt that generally comes to the mind of the student could be, now if this is so wonderful, who would not like to have it? Why is that we are not able to realize or recognize that self which you say is our true nature? You are saying it is you. You are saying it is wonderful. And you are saying that you have not known that. Why? Between what I am really, as per what you say, and what I think I am now, there seems to be an ocean of difference as between heat and cold, light and darkness. That is a gulf. Why is that? What is wrong with me or what is wrong with him? In our mood of ignorance, when we try to realize the truth, it appears to be a horizon, a distant goal. But if we believe our Lord's words, that the self is our true nature, it's not a goal far away, we will never be far from it. Think, how far are you from yourself? How far am I from myself? First M and first view, Y, small, second M and second Y, capital. I hope you understand. A mortal is as far away from immortality. A sinner is as far away from a saint. The imperfect is as far away from the perfect as the dreamer is far away from the waker. How far is the waker from the dreamer? I had a wonderful dream. How far is that from the waker? Or how far is the dreamer away from the waker? That far are you from him. Understand? Therefore, a man awakened to the self's glory is God. He should come to the waking state, not merely writing a thesis on what waking state is in a dream school. You should wake up and be a waker, and a man awakened to this self-glory or self-realization is God. Tattvamasi or Brahmasmi. And forgetful of his own natures or his own majesty and glory is a deluded man. A God forgetful of his own majesty is deluded man. So man is man rising up or God falling? A tremendous wonder is this Atman. Think over it. Tremendous wonder. It doesn't allow you to detect it. It is here, it is there. You go there, it is here. You come here, it is there. Plays hide and seek. That is a hidden truth. That is a hidden truth. Robert Browning, you must have all heard of him, an English poet who was very much influenced by our Vedantic thoughts, refers to this Atman in one of his works as the imprisoned splendor. Imprisoned splendor. A beautiful coinage, isn't it? There is profound splendor in each one of us. Divyatva, effulgence in each one of us. But it is imprisoned, chained, conditioned by the body, mind, intellect complex. Shortly called as Mr. Ego. How to break the chain? How to break this chain was an important question to the rishis as much as it is to us today in the COVID days. Today also we are seeing how to break the chain. Break the chain, break the chain. That is a national motto, national call now. Break the chain. Break the chain is what the rishis also say. Therefore, the Shruti asserts that a mere bookish knowledge is no knowledge at all. In fact, there are people who can endlessly discourse on scriptures, day in and day out. There are people who can repeat from memory all the Vedas. Some of them can repeat 4 Vedas, some of them can do 3 Vedas, some of them can do 2 Vedas. And therefore those people are also known as Chaturvedi, 4 Vedas, Trivedi, 3 Vedas, Dvivedi, 2 Vedas. They are ancestors. Not present Trivedi, Dvivedi and Chaturvedi. They are great forefathers. One of them must have been fluent in all the 4 Vedas, and therefore his surname happened to be Chaturvedi or Trivedi or Dvivedi. What is the use? There are Pandits, even today, though very rare, who can recite all the 10 principal Upanishads with Shankara Bhashya. Of what avail? Of what avail is to a man when he gains the whole world and loses himself, asks Wordsworth. These Vedas and Shankara Bhashyams can be produced or heard from CD cassettes, CD audios. But these are no doubt, admirable achievements, no doubt about it. But all that the Rishi says is, this cannot be used directly to attain the experience of the self or reality. These are aids to qualify yourself to reach that state of desirelessness from where you can take a flight. These are all security check and baggage check. Just because you give your ticket in the check-in counter and get a boarding pass, you can't directly rush to the flight. No, there are procedures. These procedures by themselves cannot entitle you to the flight. But then these procedures are not needed. Shall I discard them? No, you have to follow. That alone will not take you to the flight. There are people who do not miss a single saptaha or any spiritual discourse anywhere within 10-kilometer radius. Their knowledge overgrows their brain. What avail? What avail? The student therefore again asks, if neither the study nor memorizing nor satsang can give us this subjective experience of reality, does it mean that self-realization is an impossibility? Please tell me very frankly. If you are saying yes, then I don't mind, I have paid the fees, no problem, I am going. I will stop the studies here. I didn't come here for that. Are you saying that? You are saying memorizing is not, it can't take you to the goal, satsang cannot take you to the goal, discourses can't take you to the goal, mere knowledge cannot take you to the goal. Then is it impossible? Tell me. Tell me in one word. And are these exercises therefore to be discarded? Shall I stop studying? Shall I stop learning? Shall I stop giving discourses? Shall I stop hearing saptahas? Tell me. Not at all, warns the Shruti. Not at all, my boy. In the Uttarartha, in the second half of the stanza mantra, the Shruti firmly asserts that the experience of realization is certainly possible if only the seekers pursue the methods advocated by rishis with sincerity, faith and consistency. Yame vaisha prunute tena labhya tasyaisha altma vrinade nunam swam. The real nature is shown to him who sincerely devotes his life for Atma Prapti, self-discovery. With honesty and sincerity. A single pointed desire to realize him and him alone and to cut asunder the traces of ego and egocentric desires that I have in me. The entire world of objects, emotions and thoughts are irrelevant for me. They are not the things that is going to make me happy. That resolute decision, firm determination, fortitude, courage to surpass all these worldly things, that person, that seeker will certainly realize. In the process of seeking, the seeker will slowly and steadily remove all the negative qualities at the physical and psychological level and makes him fit for realization. Having discarded all the vulgar and animalistic tendencies in the personality of the seeker, his day of reckoning is not far off, tells the Rishi. Either man may ascend to God or God may descend on that man. If the man has become perfectly qualified for the experience. When you are perfectly qualified for the experience, either God will come down to lift you or you will be lifted up from above. It makes no difference in effect whether the river reaches the ocean or the ocean receives the river. The truth remains uncontradicted to a seeker who has attained the requisite vivek and vairagya, wisdom and enlightened detachment. The Rishi will continue this thought process in the next mantra also. We will see that tomorrow. Hari Om.